All right, so as I do this, it is 4:10 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, and I have spent the better part of I don't know how many hours talking with my mom. Well, really listening to things that were on her mind. Um, Monday was also the 59th birthday of my good friend Lars Frykman, who passed away 2 years ago. And so you get caught up in stuff, and I've been battling. See, I'm with well, all right. I'll just life. Um, CT scan, then blood work. What else? Samples you give to the doctors, and then you get this letter back that says, what does it say? Dear Zenith and Abraham, the results of your recent laboratory tests have been completed and reviewed. Your results are acceptable. I really don't know what the fuck that means, but Lars is ahead of me by about a year less. That. So, just think about a lot of stuff. And think about your mortality. And these past few days, I thought I was dealing with, well, I have, So, skull, everybody, skull. And damn it, Eric, how come you didn't tag me and say, hey, Zinni, I'm going to do a toast to Lars, or something like that. Just freaking give me a text or something like that, okay? Whatever. I know we're all getting older and forgetting about each other. We all have our lives and all that, but I don't forget about nobody. And no, I'm not drunk. I just happened to pick this up because Eric had said, hey, toast to 7 hours ago. He did it. Held up a photograph of a glass with his hand. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'll, and then salute. Here's to Lars. Lars, every time I think of freedom, I think of Lars. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, this dude, between he and Bill, and, I was telling someone the other day, someone who graduated from Skyline, it was Michael Hutchinson. You might see it's Mike Hutchinson, who just won school board. And he went to Skyline, but he graduated class of 91, class of 80. And I was talking to him about how I know Lars had a slightly different path, but when it came to the bike club, he was with us. Myself, Bill, and Corinne Runge. Whatever happened with her. Anyway, Mike was talking about how Skyline had race problems or all that. And in my time, that wasn't something I remembered. It was Bill, Lars, Craig, Mark Frame, Dennis Chang, Daryl Hom, Wallace, Eugene. There are people that we went to school at Bret Hart that went elsewhere, like Derek Jackson, who died, who had actually dated Lee. I thought this is something that I learned from Lars. I thought for all the time that Derek and Lisa Maxwell were dating before, Lars and Lisa got together, and turned out that they never dated. I didn't know Derek was gay. I had no idea. I mean, that, right? I mean, Derek Jackson was, but Lars did. I mean, he had some idea. It's interesting what you find out about people later in life. And Lars and I had a number of chuckles about that. He goes, "You didn't know that all the time?" No, I had no idea. Yeah, you know. Wow. And Lars is just always full of life. Um, and some of our best talks were me just calling him from here, and maybe I think, just call see how Lars is doing. Next thing I know, an hour later, we're still John, or we'll stop the conversation, we'll pick it up the next day, or we'll stop the conversation, we'll pick it up the next hour, or something like that, right? Lars is a great man, a great man, and he a great man who raised a great son, Kyle, who's a great dad and a great husband to his wife. And if you want to talk about what a person accomplishes, that right there, that's what Lars gave us. He gave us someone to carry on his name in all aspects of him. You know, um, Kyle is a bit more analytical than his dad, though. He's got that. Maybe he got that from his mom, right? But Lars is more like his favorite character, Harrison Ford. Not Harrison Ford, but Han Solo. And when Star Wars came out, one favorite thing Lars used to love to do was run around like, "Chewie, get us out of here!" Talking about how uh, Han Solo would run through the Millennium Falcon after they boarded the ship. When Darth Vader was fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they had hoped that Obi-Wan Kenobi had disabled the shield, right, and had disabled the tractor beam, yeah, from Star Trek, right, and that was one favorite thing. And then and then later in life, we would talk a lot about people we knew that came under the heading of "I didn't know." The whole Derek Jackson thing was one of those "I didn't knows." Okay, uh, and I have to be careful because some of you are going to think, "Oh, he's soused. He's going to say anything." Well, no. A, I'm not soused. B, I'm not going to say anything. And C, I still have quite a bit of this grape juice left. Well, it's not grape juice. It's a cab. All right. Anyway, mm, it's pretty good. If I do say so myself. Um, Lars' other favorite character was Thor, the god of thunder. And when I think of Thor and Lars, I think of the Guffy Ranker Marvel comics of the day, the cartoons, with that jingle. Cross the rainbow bridge of Asgard, do do the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless thunder the god of thunder, mighty Thor. Anyway, that was Lars. And all that. Lars, we can get around to see the Avengers. I mean, the last movie that I'm sorry that we did not get the chance to see together was the last Star Wars movie, and we had a standing plan to see that, which never didn't materialize. And and I think we're going to see Rogue One ahead of that. If Bill sees this, he'll ping my memory a bit there. But I remember they made a little video saying, "Where's Zinni? Where's Zinni?" Um, I've been so worried about my mom that at times I was sort of just paralyzed in my movement. She's fine. It's just me. Um, Folks, this is the curse of a guy who remembers being born. That's right. I remember being born. My question to you is, do you remember your origin? Do you remember your first thought? I do. Scared as hell, man. Anyway, um, I hope people in life are lucky enough to have the friends I've had. Lucky enough to know a guy like Lars, you know, uh, who, I mean, we knew each other. We always would go to the parties, Bill and I, and then we just fell out of touch, and it happens. But I have to credit Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's creation, for bringing us together because Bill and I were always in touch. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm still in touch with Lars." And I said, "Well, hey, tell him I said hi." And then I'd always think, "Okay, let me follow up. Let me follow up." And then when he was on Facebook and we tagged, that was it. Game over. We were thick as thieves after that because it's a cool thing to be able to tap into that universe of people that defined you during your forming years. I have a theory that people form up until the age of 17. They don't much change beyond that, right? Uh, and so, like, if I hang out with Lars or Bill, there's still a core of them that I see. Oh, I was going to tell this story about Skyline. I forgot. What happened was Bike Club. I was the first president of the Bike Club. This is what I was telling Mike Hutchins, and I think I said it on the air too. But this is 1979. They elected me president, and Bill, Lars, and I wanted to go a particular way, and we would go across the Bay Bridge. How do we manage? How do we do that? We didn't ride across the bridge, of course. We trying to remember if we did the. I think we went up the long Richmond way and then came down. But at any rate, we however we did it. But when we wound up in San Francisco, um, we took the ferry. That's right. I think it was. But when we wound up in San Francisco, we were wound our way toward Parnassus, and there was a way that we go to the Cliff House that's traditional, and there's another way that's not traditional. Um, and it involved the Cliff House, and of course also Grizzly Peak. Anyway, to make a long story short, Mr. Rockman, who was my drafting teacher, was our sponsor. You have sponsors, right? He wanted to go the other route, and Bill, Lars, and I felt the route that we suggested was better for traffic reasons. It was just more. No, we were in Star Trek then. The Mr. Spock was more logical. Okay, so we took that route, and I remember we were going to. Rockman protested, and I said, "No, as president, I say we go this way." I was 16, but it didn't matter. I would have said it. I would have said it at 58 too. Anyway, Rockman got pissed. As well, you're the first black president, and Bill bellowed, and Lars followed. But Bill said, "What does that have to do with anything? Those dudes, and they're white, okay." And I say this. I say that to say this: we don't have a good system for remembering how things were. So there's this assumption that, oh, back then it must have been worse racially or something like that. Not necessarily. Okay? Not necessarily. Yeah, I can make an argument that in the 70s, I think in a lot of ways things were better. You know why? Because you had more money sloshing around on a need basis, adjusted for inflation. Um, you could feed a family of four with just a high school education. It was unheard of then for somebody to work more than one job at a time. You work two jobs, it was like, man, you're really scraping. You really need that money, don't you? Now, And the people used to work that used to have these jokes about people that worked like 4 or 5 jobs. Now it's common. Imagine that. Okay, it's common. Something else when we grew up, we didn't have the internet. Okay, all right, we didn't have the internet. Um, and so we didn't have that at all. Oh, I should explain for somebody who's watching this, who's getting the wrong idea. Lars died of cardiac arrest. Um, and not too far after his father passed away. John Frykman, Lars and Erik's legendary father, Kyle's late grandfather, legendary, opened his church to the Black Panthers in 1968. Okay? Yeah, so for those of you who are getting some weird idea about what this is about, no, 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 no. I'm remembering one of my best friends in my life, whose passing was shocking. I remember when I got the call about it, my thought was, you know what? Because he passed away in his sleep. And I thought, you know what? When Lars wakes up, boy, he's going to be really mad. And we're going to hear, and I'll tell you something that really happened. I can never get this out of my mind. I remember when Phil called me to let me know the news, and I just was like, I said, I couldn't, I knelt down and I said, Lars, I can't believe this. Give me a sign that you're around. And I got up and picked up my stuff and my computer and went to unplug the computer. And you know what? I went to unplug the computer, and you know what? Um, um, I went to unplug the computer, and the whole side of the room, all the lights, the whole side of the house, lights out. It went dark. Hey, that was my sign. Kind of reminds me of a Star Trek episode where Star Trek was our favorite television program, where Spock, uh, um, where Spock, okay, just said he kicked it in the side to let the Enterprise people know that he was around, he was alive, you know, he was around. In Lars' case, I believe that he kicked it in his way to let me know that you heard my prayer. I will go to my personal grave believing that. I don't care what you believe. Okay. So, cherish your friends. Cherish your friends. Oh, David, he passed 2 years ago. This was because Erik, I appreciate that, by the way. Um, but for those people following me on Facebook, they see right there my shrine to him is photographs of us, including one where Bill and I were in front of the Grand Lake Theater owned by Alan Michon, singing the Star Trek theme. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thank you. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ba 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 ba. I don't guzzle my wine. I just can't do it. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you. And thank you. And Erik, here's to you, buddy. Skull.